Over the last 75 years, over 10,000 chemicals have been introduced to our food supply. Yet the EU only allows 300 food additives. But at Thrive Market, we bring our members the highest quality brands and restrict more than 1,000 ingredients found at conventional grocery stores, making the switches easy with our Healthy Swaps scanner, which finds better versions of all your favorite pantry, snacking, and home essentials without the added junk, dyes, and fillers. Plus, it's all delivered straight to your door. So if you're looking to shop at a grocery store that actually cares about your health, go to thrivemarket.com/podcast and you'll get 30% off your first order and a free gift.
Well, hello, everyone. It's your girl, Gabrielle. Welcome to Hot Topics. I am very much looking forward to this episode today. And this is a very special episode. I have a special presentation for you. So I'm so excited. Let's get started. All right. So like I said, welcome to a brand new episode of Hot Topics. So if you're not already familiar with this program, this is the show where we like to talk real talk about things in education, employment, mental health, physical health, finance, whatever, anything that is steamy. We like to take a single topic and do a deep dive into it. And today, and as a reminder, you are watching this live. This episode is being live streamed. So I'm switching it up a little bit this year. I am live streaming our episodes. So if you are watching this live, I encourage you to interact by leaving any questions or comments in the chat. But if you're watching this on the replay, that's okay. I still encourage you to leave your questions in the chat, and I will do my best to have your questions answered. So our topic for today is, let me just get my banner. So our topic for today is a very special topic. It is fighting negative self-talk. That is our topic for today. And the person who will have this discussion about fighting negative self-talk is myself. I am the one who is going to make that presentation to you. So I am your guest today. So let me introduce myself. My name is Gabrielle Crichlow. Let me tell you about who I am. So who is Gabrielle Crichlow? Let me get up my little banner here and let me tell you who I am. So I am the esteemed captain of A Step Ahead Tutoring Services. I bring a wealth of academic excellence as well as a proven record of tutoring. While I was in graduate school, I worked for 2 supplemental education services companies that partner with New York City schools. Since they partnered with the schools, I was able to provide between 20 and 26 free hours of tutoring to students every year. While I was working at both companies, I saw the academic struggles of low-income and middle-income families. First of all, I thought 20 to 26 hours of tutoring for the year is definitely not enough for them. Second of all, most of these students are misdiagnosed with learning disabilities, they're almost illiterate, and they're undereducated. I reached a point where I realized that these students deserved more than the limited services these companies offered them. It was at this moment that a light bulb went off in my head. Ding! I will start my own company. My experiences in graduate school provided me with the insight I needed to excel at and enjoy tutoring, and to also inspire other tutors to do the same. Then I founded A Step Ahead Tutoring Services on October 9, 2013, and I have operated it ever since. So today, our topic is, once again, fighting negative self-talk. So today is a special episode because I want to make a presentation to you. So I won't really be talking. I will be playing a presentation for you. So I want to set up the background for this presentation. So I was recently on a podcast for a company called Booty Bands. So shout out to Booty Bands. I am going to put up their web link here. So there was an episode that I did on their podcast called Fighting Negative Self-Talk. And on that episode, so you could check out that link there, you could check out that podcast for yourself. On that episode, I discussed the 3 ways that you can fight negative self-talk. So those 3 ways are awareness, acceptance, and assault. So those are the 3 ways that we can fight negative self-talk. And I get into that in the episode. So for this episode, I thought that the words were important for everyone to know. So I decided I'm going to include it in my Hot Topics episode today. So I do want to add that the context of the episode was about weight loss and fitness. So you will hear references to that in the presentation. But I want to let you know that although the conversation was centered around fitness and weight loss, you could take the meat of the conversation and you can apply it to any area of your life. So again, I want to reiterate. So while the context of this conversation was centered around weight loss and fitness, the core of the message you can apply to any situation in your life at any time, at any place. So these are tools that you can use to fight that negative self-talk. So briefly, I'll go into it. So negative self-talk is it's what you tell yourself when you are under extreme stress, which is how I define it. So it might be when you are really angry or really stressed or really frustrated, and you tend to use certain negative words to talk about yourself in that moment. So for example, so in the episode, one of the examples I brought about was tutoring. And so the sessions that I've tutored, I see this a lot with kids where they'll get really frustrated with a problem and they'll say things like, "I'm so stupid." That is an example of negative self-talk because stupid is a very negative word. So when you are feeling that high level of emotion, right? So things like sadness, anger, frustration, these are extreme hormonal reactions in your body. And when you are feeling that extreme emotional state, so something like being frustrated, something like being angry, you tend to overreact, so to speak. It's sort of like pouring water in a cup, right? So if you put a cup under a faucet and you leave the water running, the water will fill up the cup, right, to the brim. But if you keep the water running, eventually the water will overflow and it'll start to pour out of the cup, right? So it's sort of that's what happens in our bodies, right? So we have these hormonal chemical reactions that okay, there's a tolerance level that we have, and then we reach when we get to a point where we can no longer tolerate it. So there is a threshold. And when we reach that point where we can no longer tolerate it, and then if we go over that point, that's when just our body just kind of shuts down. We can't feel it anymore. That's where we get like the mental freeze and the brain freeze, and we have these reactions in our bodies that it's sort of like we just can't function anymore because we're so overwhelmed. So that's what's going on in your body. So particularly with the self-talk, another way that
Over the last 75 years, over 10,000 chemicals have been introduced to our food supply. Yet the EU only allows 300 food additives. But at Thrive Market, we bring our members the highest quality brands and restrict more than 1,000 ingredients found at conventional grocery stores, making the switch as easy with our Healthy Swaps scanner, which finds better versions of all your favorite pantry, snacking, and home essentials without the added junk, dyes, and fillers. Plus, it's all delivered straight to your door. So if you're looking to shop at a grocery store that actually cares about your health, go to thrivemarket.com/podcast and you'll get 30% off your first order and a free gift.
That feeling of overflowing, that feeling of overflowing emotions, one of the ways that it manifests itself is with words and word choice. And one of which is, again, the negative self-talk. So we tend to attack ourselves when we feel overflowing with emotions and when we feel overwhelmed and we feel like things are too much. So going back to my tutoring example, when I work with kids and they say, I'm so stupid, why are they saying that? That's a very particular word. And so what I like to do is I delve into that. So I say, stupid, what do you mean? Like, I'm not getting it. Okay, well, that does that make you stupid that, that you're not understanding something right away? Like that's a very tough word. Let's try it a different way. You're just this particular way that I'm explaining it to you, it's not working out. Let's try a different way. So, or I would say things like, you're not stupid. You're figuring things out. You're trying to work things out. You're trying to find a way that you can understand, right? So I like to take those words and I like to flip it. And like, no, you're not stupid. You're figuring things out. You're working things out, so you don't get it right now. That's okay. We're going to try it a different way. Let's take a 5-minute break and let's come back to it after the break, right? So you may not get it right away. That's okay. Let's implement these other measures, before we call it quits, right? So, I see it a lot in the sessions that I tutor, and I see it a lot with these kids. And I think it's also what's their environment as well, because their parents and their teachers, they have all of these pressures, and these kids, I think, are just reacting to their environment. So they're feeling under pressure. They have to pass, or else they'll fail, and the parents will just yell at them all the time. And so these kids are under, I think I see it as, these kids are under a lot of pressure, and they're reacting to that. So, and even the idea of getting a tutor. Depending on the kid, they may look at that as, I need help. What's wrong with me? Why do I need help? Why do, so, some kids appreciate the extra help. And then you have those kids they kind of look at you with a side eye, like, why do I have a tutor? What's wrong with me? I'm broken. I'm not perfect. So, and then all those thoughts kind of flood in their head. So all those thoughts that you think to yourself, all those words that you tell yourself, particularly during those extreme emotional moments, those are examples of negative self-talk. And that is what I'm going to tackle today. So I am going to show you my presentation. So this presentation is my episode from that podcast from Booty Bands. And again, I just want to reiterate the context of the conversation is centered around fitness and weight loss. However, the meat of the conversation and the core of the conversation can be applicable to anything. So with that said, I am going to present to you my conversation right now. So give me 1 second as I get my technological stuff together. All right, fabulous. I think we're good to go. Okay, all right, fabulous. Just getting my techie stuff together. All right, fabulous. Okay. Okay. All right, I got it. I'm trying to get my techie stuff together. All right, so now I present to you my episode from the podcast, from the Booty Bands podcast, entitled 3 Steps on How to Fight Negative Self-Talk. Please enjoy. I apologize for that. I don't think the sound was playing in the video. I apologize for that. So let me just address that. Give me 1 second. Give me 1 second. I do apologize for those technical difficulties.
Back, everyone. You got Danita, your host for the Booty Bands More Than Fitness podcast. Today, we've got 3 steps on how to fight negative self-talk. I think this is going to be a really good one because I think all of us have experienced negative self-talk. So I'm excited for this one. And today our guest is Gabriella. She is an owner and director of A Step Ahead Tutoring Services. I feel that she's got a lot of experience with learning about negative self-talk and how to really overcome those. So I'm excited to welcome her to the podcast today.
Hi, thank you for having me. This is awesome.
Awesome. Well, let's go ahead and dive into it. So if you can take this complex topic of fighting negative self-talk, let's dive into what those 3 steps would be. So what would be the first step?
All right, so bear with me. So the first step is called awareness. I think it is easier when someone points it out to you, but because there's a lot of things that we do that we're not really aware of. So when I say aware of, when it comes to negative self-talk, it's things like what are what do you tell yourself? What are the negative things that you're thinking? What are the types of words that you use, the type of behaviors that you use? Um, so I'll give an example. So when it comes to tutoring, for example, and there's a child that maybe they get easily frustrated, or they're not getting it, they may say things like, I'm so stupid, I'm so stupid. And that's something you want to be aware of. So when you know you're frustrated, when you feel frustrated, when you feel angry, when you feel stressed, what are the words that you're telling yourself? What are the actions that you're doing? You want to be aware of those feelings. I remember something just came to me. A college professor told me that, I don't know if it's our true selves, but our true selves come out when we're angry. So when we have that high, I guess the high level of emotion, I guess our subconscious comes out. So bringing it back to this, when we're feeling frustrated, your body's is in an extreme state, when you're feeling frustrated, when you're stressed out, when you're sad, when you're angry. All these emotions are physical manifestations. I definitely want to point that out there. Emotions are not just feelings, but it's actually something happening in your body, and it's actual physical changes that's happening in your body. So when you're sad, you're crying, right? Because your body reaches a point, and then tears start coming out, right? I I think tears are a way of your body regulating itself. But anyway, all that to say, so when you're feeling really frustrated, right? When you're feeling really stressed out, angry, that's when our subconscious comes out. So when your subconscious comes out, what is coming out? What are the words that you're telling yourself? So back to my example. So when a child is feeling frustrated, they're not getting it. They're not getting a problem. They're not getting the steps. They may say something like, I'm so stupid. Um, Something like that is an example of negative self-talk, because you're attacking yourself. You're saying words like stupid. So the awareness part is, mm, the awareness part is paying attention to your word choice. So the word stupid, where does that word come from? Did someone tell you that you're stupid? Did you always tell yourself you're stupid? Maybe, and we want to be aware that we pick up things from our parents that we're not aware of. Did you hear your parents tell themselves that they're stupid and you internalize that somehow? So things like, I'm stupid, I'm slow, I'm never gonna get this. These are actual words that I've heard students use. And when they feel that heightened sense of emotion, which is again a physical manifestation, so when they feel that, they have to react. And I think it's a way of your body kind of regulating itself and your body may be regulating itself in the wrong way. So things like I'm stupid, I'm stupid, I'm slow, I'm so dumb. Even when we make silly mistakes, we may say things like, "Oh, I'm so dumb." Like even the pronouns that we use. So instead of like, "Oh, that was a dumb mistake," we may say, "Oh, I made a dumb mistake," or "I'm dumb." So so when we are angry, when we are stressed, when we are frustrated, these are very extreme emotional states that our body is going through, even when we're sad. And we want to be conscious, aware of what do I say when I'm angry? What do I do when I'm angry? What do I think when I'm angry? So saying, doing, thinking. So, what is my word choice? Do I tell myself I'm stupid? Do I tell myself I'm dumb? Do I say things like, "Oh, I'm so dumb. I'm so silly." I know we like to laugh it off. "Oh, I'm so silly." Um, I know that the word silly tends to be like a friendly thing, a joking thing. I would also be conscious of that as well. So, things like I'm so silly, I'm so dumb, I'm so stupid, I'm a klutz. Definitely the eyes. Those we want to be conscious of and aware of, especially when we are feeling frustrated, angry, stressed out, and sad. So definitely being aware of the particular words that we use and also the particular actions that we do. Um, and even you may not be aware of the thoughts that we're thinking, but I think the words, even something simple as the words that you're doing and the small things that you're doing, the words that you're saying and the actions that you're doing, and we should be aware of those things, because those things, especially when those things are connected to those heightened emotions, I think that's the first step in awareness.
Yeah, I love it. It's what I call limiting beliefs. And it's important to catch those people that are around you saying it. That's something I always like to do with the Booty Bands Brigade is I'll listen to a girl and I'm like, "Oh, I'm going to stop you right there because I just heard a limiting belief." And she kind of smiles and she goes, "Oh crap, she caught me in something," right? And she goes, "Oh man, I've got to like backtrack and figure out what I just did." And so as you're saying things on like an intelligent level with working with children, mine is working with women in fitness. And so the exact same thing I hear is, I don't have enough time. I always start and stop. I will never get to my goals. Genetically, I'll always be fat. Things like this. And so I can absolutely relate, as we definitely hear on the different areas of life, whether that's fitness, intelligent wise, whether you're running a business, whatever it is. I think that awareness is the first step to change it. If you're not aware of it, you are constantly putting yourself in that realm of what you think is going to be true. There's a really great quote. As the famous quote saying goes, "Whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right." So absolutely love what you just said, Gabriella. It's very much aligned with me and how I help with women with fitness. So very interesting. So thank you for that. Let's head to number 2. I'm excited to keep going into this, as I can feel how people can help really break their negative self-talk with these steps. So the next one is, what is that one?
Yes. So the next one, and that was a great quote, by the way. The next one is called acceptance, right? So after you're aware of the words that you tell yourself, the actions that you do, so now the next one is acceptance. So I was a psychology major, and well, yes, but I also studied clinical mental health counseling. And one of the things that I learned in my counseling studies, there's this thing called cognitive restructuring, where you pair the negative self-talk with the opposite positive self-talk. I'm gonna figure out how to explain it. So whatever that negative belief is, there's like a contradictory preposition, and then there's the positive self-talk. So for example, if a student says, I'm so stupid, I would say, I mean, this doesn't actually follow the format that I just gave, but I would say things like, no, you just made a mistake. You can always fix it. Or if they say things like, I'm so dumb. And I would say things like, no, you're not. Like you can, you're just practicing. You're just struggling. You're figuring things out. You're not going to get it right away. So maybe not quite the format I gave, but you're kind of, you're taking what they're saying and you're flipping it upside down. That's pretty much what it is. So things like, so even for adults, given with your business, Danita, I would think you can say things like, if it's something like this is in my genetics, something like that. Because the whole point of saying this is in my genetics, the underlying message there is I'll never get out of this. I'll always deal with this. So if you say, oh, this is in my genetics, you could probably say, so what does this mean? Like, or even something like, then why are you here? So if you truly believe that this is in your genetics, then why are you here? So that's actually not cognitive restructuring. That's actually called challenging what I just said. I'm all over the place, but that could be another type of acceptance. But again, it's easier when someone points this out to you as opposed to you pointing out yourself. But so that's two things I just gave there. So one is the cognitive restructuring, or it might actually be okay, so it's two different things. I'm all over the place. But cognitive restructuring is what you're kind of doing it yourself. So you may say things like, I probably should do this myself, but I may say something like, so going back to that format, the negative thought, contradictory word, positive self-talk. I may be fat, but I know I can always lose weight. I know I'm taking too long to lose weight, but I'm going at my own pace. I know weight issues run in my family, but it's not permanent. I know I can always change it. Or when we say things like, I'm not perfect, I'm no angel, the words like that. So those are examples of cognitive restructuring. And so the other thing I brought up was more like challenging, in that it's like so like so again, it's easier if someone else kind of does it. So when someone presents like a thought to you, not a thought, well, if someone says like it seems like a firm belief, like even with tutoring, because it's not a lot of the times, it's the parents that make the kids go to tutoring. It's rarely the kids want to do it themselves. So when they say things like, I'll never figure this out, I may say something like, so you like where you are? So you're gonna be stuck here forever? That might not be a great example, but um, so or even the main thing like I'm not gonna need this in my adult life. Like I'm not gonna need I'm not gonna need Pythagorean theorem in my adult life. And I may say something like, well, what do you want to do? So what do you want to do in your adult life? So you see yourself as an adult, so you have goals, you have a goal. Okay, so you want to be an adult, right? So you see your future. So you obviously have a perspective there. So I may be conflating two different things, but cognitive restructuring is more like what you're telling yourself. So yes, I may not love myself. So yes, I don't love myself, but I know other people love me, or I know, so there's that but, that's the cognitive restructuring part. I know, um, I have bad habits, but I know I can fix it, so there's always that, so there's that but clause, if you want to put it like that. And then the challenging part is, again, it's better to bounce things off of other people. But then the challenging part would say something like, well, if, like I was saying before, so it's in my genetics, then you would say, then why are you here? So that would be challenging. Or, or even something like, oh, it's in my genetics, so why are you trying to lose weight then? Why is it so important to you? If you believe, given with your business, Danita, if you believe that you'll never improve, it's in my genetics, I'll never get past this, then you should say, then why are you here? If that's what you honestly believe, then why are you here? Why is it so important to you? Why are you trying to lose weight? Why are you exercising? Why are you taking the pills? Why are you drinking all the shakes? Why did you just go buy a protein shake? Why did you go buy a barbell set? Why did you do these things if you honestly believe that it's in your genetics? So that's two ways of acceptance. So,
yeah, I like it. So the first step I'm seeing is the awareness of the negative thought. And the second step is challenging that negative thought. I really like that. So finding that limiting belief, really challenging it. I liked how you said almost reversing it. So some people can use positive, what's the word I'm looking for?
like a positive reflection.
Oh, positive affirmation. So like I'm stupid, then you turn it around and I'm smart, right? So this is the number 2. I like the challenging part of it. But now I'm interested in the step number 3 and see if they align with each other. So what would step number 3 be?
All right. So step number 3 is assault, right? So this is the counteraction, the counter thought. So if I guess I'm trying to use your business as an example. So you're aware of the words that you tell yourself, right? So this is in my genetics, right? And you're aware of that. And then the acceptance may be the challenging part. Then why am I here? And then the assault is, what are you going to do with that, right? So now that I'm aware, if I honestly believe, why am I here? Then it's like a mental shift. When you challenge those thoughts, it's like a mental shift. Like your whole world just changes. And also you're changing the dynamic in your body as well, because your body and mind are one. So once you change that thought in your minds, you're changing the dynamics of your body. So after you challenge that thought, now it's, I'm going to go do that thought, right? So I, if the negative thought is, I'll never get over this, it's in my genetics. The acceptance part is, then why am I here? The assault part is, what am I going to do about it? Now I'm going to go do something about it. I'm here, like I'm here because I want to change. So I'm going to go and go to Booty Barbells. I'm going to go and, try to get on a diet or a workout plan. I'm going to go get a coach, so the assault is the action that you're doing to change, right? So after you challenge that negative thought, you know what? I'm going to go and seek help. I'm going to go and join this program. I'm going to go and talk to a coach. I'm going to go and go to a nutritionist, a dietitian. I'm going to go and talk to somebody. And the more that you challenge those thoughts and the more that you challenge the thing, it's like a loop. I think you talked about it before. It's like a loop that we put ourselves in. And I think the acceptance is that first break in the loop. And so you want to keep breaking that loop. And so I'm going to go talk to a coach. I'm going to go join a program. I'm going to go and do these things. And you also want to be very specific. So don't say things like, I'm going to go get help. That's very generic. You want to be specific. So get help where get help how, right? So I'm going to go, so don't just say I'm going to go get help. I'm going to go talk to a coach, right? I'm going to go join a program. I'm going to go watch a workout video, like not just watch a workout video, but actually do the workout video. I'm going to do strength training 3 times a week. So the more specific the assault is, the better for you. So I think once you realize your thought, so you have the thought, that's one. Step 2 is you want to contradict that thought. And then the third thing is, how do you follow through with what you just did? And that is the action part. And that's the assault part.
I love it. I love it. I love it.
I like to go on and on and on, but
it definitely explains it. So the negative, step 1, be aware of the negative thought. Step 2 is challenging it, really, asking those thoughts, is this true? Is this really true? And challenge that. And then step 3 is follow up with something different. So yeah. And how this actually goes into the mind. I do a lot of research on this, and I like watching podcasts or YouTube videos that kind of explain really why this works. And your 3-step program is on a deeper level. And if you've read any books on the brain and how it works, we have what's called the subconscious, and we also have what's called the RAS, the reticular activating system. And this is the really important part of the brain that allows us to create that change. But what I've been able to find out is, you're right. It's not just step 2 where you can reverse your thought and say, oh yeah, I'm going to lose weight tomorrow. If your mind doesn't say, yes, that's true, then you're going to always be living in that cycle of keep telling yourself that you're never going to have time, you're never going to be good enough, you're never going to lose the weight, you're going to be right. And so if your belief system is that you can't, even though you're trying to on step 2. That step 3 is a part where the RAS system kicks in. And what I've learned is that you have to give yourself proof of how you are going to achieve these things. And I thought that was very fascinating. On step 3, what you're talking about is if you challenge yourself on step 2. So for example, I don't have time to get fit. Step number 2, reversing the thought, is I do have time to get fit. Step 3 is how can you prove step 2? And so saying, okay, I am wasting time watching too much television. I am a workaholic. I'm putting all my time into these other areas. I need to figure out how to balance my day better. And even if it's just a 5 or 10 minute workout, I can make that time because it's a priority of really what I'm doing in my life. And so I find that to be interesting that it is a 3-step process. So Gabriella, when you brought this up to me, as far as you have 3 steps to really go into fighting this negative self-talk, I had to tell you, I was super fascinated by this because I also have a 3-step process. And I'm excited that they're aligned with each other. And I'm excited that you're also helping children, with the tutoring services and being able to get them at a young age and catch them in those limiting beliefs and say, no, sweetheart, your mind isn't your best friend. And we think that when we're growing up, we believe our thoughts because we think that they're us. But when we start to become an adult, and if we continue to keep thinking that, it will ruin our life. It will ruin our goals. It will ruin everything that we've set out to accomplish in our adult life. And when we really sit back and look about how powerful we really are, how powerful our thoughts really are, that our thoughts lead into the feelings, and the feelings lead into the actions, and the actions lead into literally our destination. What you're coming up with right now is really rewiring that. And I love that you brought this to us today because it allows us to start to think about those thoughts. So I want all of us that are listening, even if we feel like we're an expert, we're not. I still struggle with this as well. And so I want all of us that are listening and just do a little homework assignment and grab your journal. And I want you to write down all of the negative thoughts that you've been telling yourself. Just be aware of them. Take Gabriella's first step. Write them all down. And then the next step, challenge them. Really look at all of those demons and those liars in the face. Really look at them and ask them, are you really true? Because they're not. And then the third step is how can you prove that they're not? How can you really do the actions? And what she said is the follow through. How can you really start to take that assault and change your life with that? So thank you for bringing this to us today. If you had somebody that was so struggling with negative self-talk, Gabriella, and they're just feel like this was helpful, but they just needed to hear from the core version of you, of maybe just giving them hope back, what would you tell the person that's listening right now that's really stuck in that negative self-talk?
I would say all it takes is the first step. I think people take huge leaps and bounds, and when they crash and burn, that's when the self-talk comes into play. So it's like when you were saying, I'm going to lose weight tomorrow. Okay, that's a huge leap of bound because it's not going to happen tomorrow. It's not going to happen overnight. And so when people are like, I'm going to drop 20 pounds just like that. And then when you realize it's difficult for you to do, or you have to just go into extreme starvation mode, and now you're angry because you're hungry, that's when the thoughts start coming in. So I think all it takes is, one, be patient, and two, it takes is one step, one small step. What's 10 minutes out the day? What's 10 minutes a day? What's 20 minutes 3 times a week, something like that. Or even if it's just every Friday, I'm going to work out for 15 minutes. Listen, if all you can commit to is 1 day a week, that's 1 day a week. That's a start, So it's every step counts. I like to say a small step forward is still a step forward. So even if it's I'm going to work out for 20 minutes every other Friday, hey, it's a small step. So take that small step. Just all you have to do is just get started. You don't have to make leaps and bounds right away. Definitely be patient and, baby steps. I know that's a very common thing that people say, but it's true. Baby steps. Take baby steps.
Yeah. I like the baby steps. Every time I think of that, there's, and forgive me, podcast listeners, if you've heard me repeat this multiple times, but there's a movie out there. It's called like Man on the Moon or something like that, or Man on Mars. And what happened is he got stranded. He lost his whole staff. He had everything break on him, and he was just stranded on Mars. And what ended up happening is his team back here on Earth gave up on him. They were like, he's definitely dead. And they had a funeral for him and just said, he's not coming back. There's no way. All his ship's broken. Everything's gone. And so ended up, he shows up on Earth and they're like, how did you get here? And he goes, the key is I just focused on just the problem in front of me. And when I accomplished that problem in front of me, I went to the next problem. And it was just those small steps that you're saying right now, Gabriella, is just taking those tiny baby steps that allowed him to get back to Earth, that people thought, how did you do this? And I think that's something that you'll even look back on your future self, do something your future self will thank you for. Look back on your life and go, how did I get here? And you'll recognize that exactly what Gabriella said. It was those baby steps that got you there. So thank you for that. Awesome. Well, it was awesome to have you on today. I have cold chills of whose life this could possibly change, as I do know that the toxicity of negative self-talk can just be so powerful, but it also is so powerful to reverse it. So allowing you to come on and give us these 3 steps, I really appreciate that. So Gabriella, thank you for your time today. And thank you for giving us your light on how to really help this.
And that is it for the presentation. I hope you enjoyed that. And that is it for the episode. We have reached the conclusion of our episode. So let me put up my banner here. So thank you for joining us today. Please check out our social media, whether you're watching this on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, wherever you're watching this right now. Please check out our social media for more videos and clips. And don't forget to like, follow, subscribe, and share. Share this message with your friends. Also, let us know what you thought about this episode by leaving a comment in the comment section below. And as a reminder, we are A Step Ahead Tutoring Services. If you would like to learn more about our services, our workshops, or anything else that we have to offer, again, check out our social media. The information is scrolling below. And you could also visit us on our website, www.astepaheadtutoringservices.com. And one last thing before I run away.
Hey there, have you heard of us? We're a small team of tutors here at A Step Ahead Tutoring Services. We believe that education and information should be accessible to everyone, regardless of income, race, or creed. We're dedicated to making this happen, but we need your help. Please consider making a donation to our company. No amount is too small. Your donation will allow us tutors to remain employed, offer free and low-cost services, put on productions like this web series, and reach out to families nationwide. With your help, we can tackle the academic challenges of our students and the emotional, mental, and behavioral changes that result from these challenges. As a bonus, we can improve our communities in the process. Support us today. Note: we're a for-profit company. We're not a charity. Your donation may not be tax deductible. Please consult a tax professional.
Yes, and yes. So thank you again for watching. I apologize for all the technical difficulties. So thank you for sticking it out with us. Thank you for sticking it out with me. And I look forward to seeing you at the next episode. Thank you for joining us. I'll see you next time. Signing off.